topics that you really like on our emails, because those emails were intense, right?
Yeah. Well, and so the questions that you came up with were great too. So, and I wrote them down, emotional management, kind of the mental health, like how do, people seek what they need and kind of getting the mental health services that they need. And then kind of cultivating a peaceful, unified community, which
Mm-hmm.
are all three, I mean, I'm sure are pretty much on everyone's mind, you know, these days too. So those were, I think you hit the nail on the head with those.
And then how'd you like Tom? I knew you would like Tom because it's relatable to you. Like I feel like you relate to him. So I was like, oh, let him see this. Even though it's a 3 hour recording, I was like, oh my God. But it was interesting. It was very interesting.
Yeah. I really liked just, what they were saying about their evolution with their business, and just trying to get a social media following, and everything is like love and, good feelings and wonderfulness. And then they like hit a certain number and all of a sudden it's, they're kind of a target for people who, kind of want to shoot them down, who maybe are wanting to leverage their popularity to build their own popularity, like all of those dynamics that start getting in there, and how they just, stop reading comments and have to avoid negative social media. And I think just their conversation around social media was really on point and just reassuring too, like how we have to manage that. And I don't know if you've experienced, kind of what your experience and kind of practice has been with social media, both from, having negative interactions or toxic kind of engagements or information online, and just how you are managing that too. How are you navigating that, especially being an online service provider too?
I know, right? And meanwhile, I said to myself that it's time to get social support on that social media support now, because in the beginning, yes, I did catch a negative comment about I was profiting over my family's death. And I was just like, what? And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I realized here comes, and I call them unaccomplished cowards, not
Mm-hmm.
haters, but unaccomplished cowards that feed off of just trying to hurt. They're trying to hurt me when they're hurting themselves, because maybe they can't do what I do, but at the end, you're the one that probably likes this. So why you're actually reading about grief? Did someone died and you want to talk about it, but you can't do it? But I
Mm-hmm.
never got a response back. But I know that in the end, I'm no longer reading negative comments anymore. That's why I said that when I get social support, I don't need negative comments like that. Like if I'm profiting over my family, because there's
Yeah.
people that need to hear this, that want to grow from this and learn to just, live life with purpose,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Well, people, it's for people to really, I was just thinking about this too, how much trust plays into who we listen to and what we believe and what we absorb. And,
Mm-hmm.
speaking to your personal experience, like that establishes trust with people to know that you went through something similar. Like without that, like how do you develop that level of connection and authenticity and trust? So even though somebody thinks, you know, calls you out for making lemonade out of lemons, it's like you are using, like you're using your pain to help other people heal. I mean, and in part that's part of your healing process too, is to
Mm-hmm.
be able to use that experience to make the world a better place. Whereas, yeah, I mean, this sounds like somebody who isn't healing or isn't able to heal or doesn't want to do the work, or, you know, um, yeah, it's frustrating because like you as well, I can tell you're somebody who wants to lift people up, and I don't know what the benefit is of shooting people down. um
To me, what I've learned from people who shoot people down is hurt people hurt people. Have
mhm
you heard that terminology? Hurt people
mhm
hurt people.
mhm
It's because internally they're hurting inside, but they want to hurt. That's what narcissists do. And I always put an example is look at Trump. Look
mhm
at what Trump's doing. He's hurting, and he's hurting the country because of his own ego, because of a past wound. I think it's because he wasn't loved by his family. His parents didn't love him, but he strives so hard to please his father that I think someone was telling me the story, and I was just like, oh God. But Trump, I think when Trump was 10 years old, he told his father that 10 people were coming over for his birthday party, and they never showed up. And his father punished him and left him in the basement as a way of don't ever lie to me and tell me there's people coming over when there's nobody coming over. No one doesn't like you anyway, And I think that little incident just grew into why he is the way he is. And always looking to please his father, even though his father's dead now, but I think this is where he's at. So for me, I always look at people's history and wonder, why do they turn into a narcissistic person? Why do they want to hurt people? And it's because they're hurting inside, and they need our light to shine, but they don't know how to approach it.
right.
But when you say something about proffering my father's family, and I'm like, you don't even know me. Who are you?
Yeah.
You don't know the story, but you don't take the initiative. I'm not going to open the door, but I will say this, that I will tell him, I wish you the best, and I hope one day you find your light inside of you that will help you heal whatever you're going through. And I said that, and that's what I left, but nothing was never mentioned again.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah.
that's why I think people shoot people down, because of the past wounds that
Yeah.
they never revealed.
Yeah. Well, and it's really, well, no, exactly. I mean, and I think when I think about mental well-being and just behavior and people, like, in recent years especially, like, I've really been trying to think about their brain and how does their brain work, and then realizing they're an organism. They're an organism trying to grow in an environment, right? So if we're, again, out in nature and there's a tree dying from disease, it's a toxic state that can affect other trees, unless there's somehow either it's healed or it's nourished, or that, and we know that with cancer and other illnesses, but it's like when it comes to like behavioral toxicity and that mental toxicity, it's very similar, but we go right to shaming the person and then kind of isolating them and saying, you're sick, go over there. But it doesn't really heal the person to make them, to hurt them. So when you hurt another person, it's like that's that disease transferring to another person. It's them trying to infect you, and so like the best you can do is let them know you're dealing with pain, you're dealing with this kind of toxic state, and I want you to heal, but you're not going to infect me in the process of figuring yourself out. And I just think of that, like we're really, like when we talk about animals or other plants, like we're really good at talking about our environment and how they grow and how they thrive, and how certain conditions can cause animals and plants to wither and die, and when it comes to the mind, we somehow think that it's this magical power that shouldn't be part of health and well-being and in our environment, like you were saying too, with talking about the effective environment on mental health and well-being. But yeah, it's I've had to get over feeling bad for just shutting people off, and I wish them well. Like what I've learned is to not send them more negative energy, because they already have enough. Like they don't need my negative energy on top of their negative energy. But I also,
Mm-hmm.
it's also important for us to not absorb that negativity either for our own well-being, you know? So it's, unless somebody's ready to heal and they're ready to just own their negativity, you know, spreading it around doesn't do anybody any good.
Right.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how I feel when it comes to them making those comments. It's just send them light, and hopefully they get to see their inner world a little in a more light. Like, why argue with them? You know, I
Mm-hmm.
was not, because some people, when they get the hate, they start arguing. I'm like, why are you arguing with them for? You're in a good place. They're just looking to, because they're not happy, they're going to make you more in their level. And you don't need that. You need to just turn around, not turn around, but, you know, don't shove them away. Just tell them, hey, this is where I'm at. I don't know where you are, but wish you the best. May God bless, because you need to find that light that works for you, because I don't think this is for you. And I just tell people, this is not for you then.
Right.
This is not a place that you want to be here, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Well, and like when we were talking last time, we kind of were using the metaphor of, um, you do the work to clean your own house and to keep it nice. And somebody who comes to the door, you can politely open the door and say, what would you like? But it's not their right to come barging into your house and mess up the place. That, to have those boundaries and say, I will meet you this far. I will meet you at the door and I'll see what you need. But if I can't give you what you need, or, you are going to destroy what I've worked on to, create a healthy environment for myself, then you need to stay, outside as much as, and when you're healthy and in a better place, you're welcome to come in and we'll talk and, but just thinking of your mental space, like our physical space, like having that, protected
A fence.
area.
Right, the fence.
Yeah, where you're not, it's not a wall, it's, you're not blocking people out, but you're able to, it's a boundary where you can communicate, but there's but there's a clear line of how far you're willing to go and where they need to meet you halfway, in that regard.